Dennis Meadows was the world's most famous epicure. He had tasted every food known to man and some unknown. Now the future looked unbearable. There were no new thrills to look forward to. It took a blood-curdling twist of fate to give Meadows the shocking solution he needed. At the Feast of the Ghouls. The dictionary defines a gourmet as a person trained in tasting of food. But to Dennis Meadows, famous gourmet, food was more than a delicacy. It was life itself.
You invite me to taste your specialties, and you serve trash, dirt, swill, filth.
But please, Mr. Meadows, sir.
Silence. When it comes to food, I'm the greatest authority. This food isn't fit for pigs.
But our chef is world famous. Our cuisine is famous, unmatched in all London.
Your food is unfit for human consumption. Come, Jameson, this place sickens me.
You must excuse Mr. Meadows. He eats nothing anymore.
I'm through with restaurants. They offer no new foods.
But why do you go out at night? What are you looking for?
Don't find out, Jameson, or you'll be very sorry.
Yes, sir.
By the way, Jameson, there's a secret meeting of gourmets in New York on the 8th. I can't miss it. There's always a toothsome new delicacy introduced.
Yes, sir. I'll book passage tonight, sir.
But that night...
I'm going out, Jameson, back at dawn as usual.
Sir, please don't go. You mustn't roam the city after midnight. It's not healthy, sir. Your habits have grown so peculiar. You don't come down to eat or drink. You make me lock you in your room during the day, but you always go out at night. Why?
Like all secrets, that one must be kept.
Where does he go? What does he do? How does he exist without food or drink?
Poor Jameson, the mystery tortures him. How can a starving man have such a fat belly?
Shortly after, on a dark street...
Who's there? Who's following me?
A few days later, bound for New York...
Sounds like a wild animal purser.
Yes, I hear it. I'll inquire about it.
Shortly after, in Meadows' suite...
Those groans were from my employer. He suffers from an old jungle disease, causes him great pain, especially at night.
Mr. Meadows never comes out of his cabin. He takes no meals. Something funny's going on here. I'm getting to the bottom of it.
Did you hear that, Mr. Meadows? You've got to stop this madness. The purser is investigating.
The purser, eh? He'll be taken care of.
That night, a shadowy form dogs the purser's steps until...
I heard something. No! Ah!
A few hours later...
It's as if some wild animal tore him apart.
I must talk to Mr. Meadows. I can't stand this situation any longer. I'm going to quit, Mr. Meadows. I can't stand it anymore. Your secret is more than I can bear.
That's unfortunate, Jameson. You were a most efficient secretary. Unfortunately, I can't take a chance of your telling the world what you know.
Later that night...
Goodbye, Jameson. Nobody'll notice your departure. You'll hit the water gently and quietly. I'll get a secretary in New York who won't get upset at my strange living habits. Why can't a man come and go as he pleases by day or by night?
A week later, Meadows' New York apartment.
I've explained my daily regimen, Mr. Lang. Does the job disturb you?
A job's a job, Mr. Meadows. The pay is good and I can put up with your way of life, however eccentric.
What about my not taking food or drink? My going out all night? Animal noises from my room?
If you can take them, I can. When do I start?
But as the new secretary assumed his duties,
Mr. Meadows, you've got to eat something. You'll starve in there.
Go away, Lang. Don't bother me. I'll eat when I go out. There's a meeting at Gourmets Inc. tonight.
I can't understand that gourmet club. Don't tell me there are other crockpots like Meadows.
later that night at a cottage in the suburbs,
So ends another meeting of Gourmets Inc., another incomparable meal. When do we meet again, gentlemen?
In Scafato, Italy, on November 18th. As usual, our menu will be something most appetizing.
at the same time at Meadows' apartment, a visitor arrives.
Nothing you can say about my uncle can change my mind, Mr. Lang. I've traveled 2,000 miles to visit him, and here I stay.
But your uncle's a queer man. Strange things have been happening. 5 people in the neighborhood have been murdered, ripped to pieces, their bodies partly devoured. Each tragedy took place on nights your uncle went out.
If you think my uncle is a murderer, why don't you call the police?
I will, when I've got more to go on than a hunch, when I have him dead to rights, when his guilt is clear beyond doubt.
I see. What if I tell Uncle he has a spy, an enemy in his own house?
Tell him what you wish. I only beg you to watch his behavior and see if I'm not right.
A month later, after Eleanor Meadows follows Lang's advice.
You're right, Tom. A murder occurs every time Uncle Dennis goes out. But why? What makes him kill?
I don't know. I only know something horrible is going on, and your uncle's part of it. Whoa!
So, Lang, you and she have been trailing me, eh? What did you expect to find?
We're worried about you, sir. We heard you groan at night. You eat and drink nothing.
You're a liar. You're spying on me. Both of you. Go home. Do you hear me? Go home. I'll take care of them later in Scafato. Besides, I learned yesterday that Eleanor has a fortune that goes to me if anything should happen to her.
A week later, on the high seas to Italy.
My dear fellow, you can't be a gourmet. You don't even know what food is until you've attended a meeting of Gourmets Inc.
Very well. Take me to your meeting. I, too, am sick of common food.
That night, in a deserted hold of the ship, the following morning.
See this glove, Meadows? It's yours. I found it near the mutilated body of the sailor.
Pure accident, Lang. The glove may have been dropped long before the killer struck.
Answer this then. Why don't you eat or drink? How do you live? What do you do in your nocturnal prowling?
Wait till we get to Scafato, Lang. There you will learn everything.
A week later, in Scafato,
These, dear niece and male guests, are my fellow members of Gourmets Inc.
Mr. Vance, you have the place of honor.
All right. I've heard of the strange delicacies served at your meetings. But I see no food. What's for supper?
Why, Mr. Vance, you are.
And you, Eleanor. And you, Lang. Together, you'll make a real delicacy for our ravenous appetites.
Tom! They're turning into beasts, ravening beasts.
You're next, Eleanor. I need your money to continue this pleasant life.
You'll never get it. I came prepared. This is why you went out at night, Meadows. Your new food was human flesh. Gourmets Inc. was an international society of cannibalistic monsters.
Run, run. We'll all be killed.
Uncle Dennis escaped!
No, Eleanor. None of them can escape. We know their secret now.
in the hills that night.
Curse, Lang. Our secret is out, and we're famished. Nothing to eat but berries.
You're wrong, Dennis. There's you!
No! No! Gah!
Minutes later, Dennis Meadows became just another morsel for these most gruesome of epicures, Gourmets Inc. The end.